Let's bring in Alaska Republican Senator Dan Sullivan, who literally just flew back into town. Good to see you, Senator.
Good to be on the show, John. Thanks.
So this is an $8 billion project up front. It's 600 million barrels of oil for total production revenues of about $44 billion. What's this going to mean for the state?
Well, this is really important for the state, but it's really important for America. This is a really important victory that we had. It's important for the environment. Highest environmental standards in the world in Alaska. I used to be in charge of that. It's really great for American workers, right? 2,500 jobs is the estimate. These are a lot of union jobs. By the way, Conoco is literally deploying people in North Slope today, right? It's starting. This was ultimate shovel-ready project. The Native community supported it very strongly in our state. And as you and I have talked about, John, really strong for national security. One of the great instruments of American power is American energy. Xi Jinping, Putin fear it. And we think for all those reasons, this should have been a decision made a lot sooner. But it's going to be important, certainly for Alaska, but for America as well.
Yeah, this was a real about-face for Joe Biden, who back in 2020, you saw it one time there where he was in front of the podium, but said it again in a town hall meeting that there was going to be no drilling on federal lands. Listen to what he said.
No more drilling on federal lands, period. Period, period, period.
Well, again, big about-face. Environmentalists are hammering him over this, but at the moment, it seems that the idea of tacking to the center ahead of a 2024 run is more important for the moment than the environmental group.
Well, you know, this administration clearly has different factions within it as it relates to energy. And usually the far left radical enviros and their allies in the administration win. You know, in many ways, this was actually a split decision because you saw they approved the three-pad Willow project, but then they announced this huge lockup of Alaska, which of course, we're going to fight that once that comes out. So it does show that they're still listening to the far left. But with regard to this project, the one thing that I actually mentioned to the president, I mentioned to every Biden administration official, and they've never been able to answer it. Even the ones who supposedly care about the environment, they just lifted sanctions on Venezuela. We're importing 100,000 barrels a day from Venezuela, a terrorist regime with a horrible record on human rights, labor rights, and a horrible record on the environment. One of the most polluting places to produce oil anywhere in the world. How can you do that and not let Alaska produce? They never have an answer to that question. I think that was part of the calculus here.
Your governor, Mike Dunleavy, asks the same question. He also wonders why we're getting rare earth minerals from China as opposed to tapping the ones that you have there in the state of Alaska, which brings me around to China, since you are, other than Hawaii, in the state that's closest to China. Xi Jinping has said if we sell Australia nuclear, and these are not nuclear armed submarines, but nuclear-powered submarines, is going to put the U.S., quote, in danger. He's running around the Middle East making all kinds of deals. He's going to go see Putin. He's going to go see Zelensky. And is this administration doing enough to counter the growing threat from China and Xi Jinping as he seeks to make China the global dominant superpower?
No, I don't think they are. And the issue here is that I like to talk about we're in this new era of authoritarian aggression led by Putin and Xi Jinping. And we have to face this new era with strategic resolve and confidence. And here's where they're not doing enough, the Biden administration. We have extraordinary strategic advantages relative to China. We have a great network of allies, a lethal military, incredible energy resources, just to name a few. And on those issues, the president put forward another budget last week to cut the military. That's the third time in a row he's put forward inflation-adjusted cuts to the military. That only emboldens Xi Jinping and Putin. And then to your point on energy and natural security, critical minerals, so important to compete with them. We have incredible resources. And yet, you know, with the few exceptions, the Willow project being one, they undermine that, try and shut it down. We have a huge mining district in Alaska called the Ambler Mining District. They shut that down a year and a half ago. It's a huge challenge when they're undermining our huge areas of strength relative to China, and that's got to change.
Well, you got to know environmental groups are going to try to shut down Willow as well. Senator, it's great to see you. Thanks for dropping in, particularly after a red eye.
Yeah, well, I try to do it most weekends, but thanks.
Good to be here. Of your stamina.
Thanks.